Hello everyone, I hope you're taking it easy and your day has been great thus far. For this video we'll be going through an unboxing and a bit of a review of the Funko Pop Vinyl of Jolteon. And Jolteon's obviously from Pokemon, and this particular Pop Vinyl is out of the Pop Games subline. And from what I could tell from the internet, Funko apparently released this back in 2020. And from what I've seen, is still somewhat available. And to make things even more interesting, there is a 4-pack of Jolteon, Flareon, Vaporeon, and Eevee from this particular release. I was going to say trio, but it's not a trio, it's a foursome, which is basically the ones for this particular sub-series. So, keeping on with the Pokemon Pop Vinyls, here we have Jolteon, after a bit of a extended Eevee run before this one. So the usual shot of Jolteon in the plastic window, looking pretty happy and cool, with a nice little coloured line art of Jolteon on the front. But in terms of the Funko Pop box, everything is pretty much your standard norm. Nice line art of Jolteon, looking very cool. And just a side view of Jolteon, the top of his head, well, their head, and the back. So we've done Eevee, done Vaporeon, done Jolteon, and Flareon, barring no weird complications, will hopefully be next week. Unless for whatever reason, more Eevees come out of nowhere, or I decide to do Mew. We'll see how it goes, but I might actually do Flareon and then follow up with Mew. And the reason why I say Mew is because the previous Eevee was from the Pokemon Select line, which Mew is also a part of. But anyway, less about Mew, more about Jolteon. So that's pretty much a look of Jolteon's box. So it is pretty much your 100% standard Pop Vinyl type box layout, nothing unusual or unexpected. Just obviously with the relevant images of Jolteon, and Jolteon of course being in the box. So now that we've had a quick look of the box, let's get Jolteon out and then we can have a nice look at Jolteon, have a few different looks, see what the colors are like, and then maybe do a few compares with Eevee and Vaporeon and some final thoughts. And with Jolteon out of the box and clamshell, so here we have Jolteon, looking very Jolteon. For some reason, I always thought Jolteon had a bit of a tail, but apparently not. Goes to show how much Pokemon I have watched in the last few years. Before we get too stuck on Jolteon, so the back of Jolteon's box does have this loose card stock for the back. Sporting the electric symbol. Jolteon obviously, well, I'm pretty sure Jolteon's an electric type. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, because there's probably a high chance that I am. This is me wild speculating about types of Pokemon. But yes, I'd like to think Jolteon is an electric one. It's a common deduction with some form of logic. Anyway, back the box with a nice little electric sign for Jolteon. So that's that. So it's actually quite nice that we're getting these little inclusions throughout all of them. Vaporeon obviously had water, Eevee had normal, Flareon, of course, should have fire. Now, Jolteon. So here we have the front of Jolteon, Jolteon from the side, Jolteon from the back, I dare say, given Jolteon's got a weird head tilt. Jolteon from the other side, Jolteon from the top, and the bottom. Now, so I had a weird shock from some of the previous ones. Yes, Jolteon will do the Exorcist 360, pretty much. So there you go. Jolteon's head does move. Once again, I'm actually really not too sure if they're really supposed to move. I'm assuming 50% of people leave them in the box, so don't actually know any better. And the other 50% probably do take them out of the box, but I'm guessing 2% of those actually try to rotate their heads. So yes, Jolteon's head, like Vaporeon and Eevee, both Eevees, can move. Now, unlike the others, I find Jolteon's head is very much one of those. It is pretty much best in a specific position, which is its original position. Putting it to the side isn't too bad, but I don't know. I feel it does off. I don't want to say off-center. It's not really centered, but just throws off some of the, I guess, silhouette is probably the best way of saying it. Not to say it couldn't be done, but I think, yeah, I mean, just putting Jolteon to this particular side doesn't look like a very natural pose. So Jolteon could be very lucky and just remain in a standard pose. We will see. Battle Jolteon likes to do this weird little head tilt. So there you go. Jolteon's head will move. Yes. In terms of colors, so Jolteon is primarily yellow, which is to be expected. The mane this time is in white. It's actually quite prominent, even compared to Eevee and Vaporeon. And in terms of the other details, we're pretty much looking at black eyes, a black little nose, and some black for the inner of the ears. But I would definitely say Jolteon has been a nice pop vinyl representation here. It is fairly discernible as Jolteon, although when you put it that way, I was going to say, could you actually get Jolteon and Vulpix mixed up? But in theory, no, but stranger things happen. So that's colours. We've had a look at Jolteon from a few different angles. We have found out the head does actually move, but maybe not to a real beneficial effect. So definitely not too bad. Will Jolteon stand? Of course Jolteon will stand. Jolteon is bipedal. It'd be very hard for Jolteon to not stand. Just might look weird if the head moves. I mean, I can do it that way. Yeah, it's... This will be one of those things that keep an eye out for any pictures that I post on Instagram. I'll actually try and do a few of these weird head tilting Jolteon poses just to give an indication of, I don't want to say absurd, but it's a weird, creepy little head tilt. It's a shame I didn't actually publish this on or around Halloween. I think that could have been a bit more appropriate, but there you go. So, Jolteon can definitely stand, which is to be expected. Looked at colours, looked at different angles. Don't think there's much left to really look at for Jolteon. So, now that we've had a look at Jolteon, let's look at Jolteon with the original Eevee. So it's interesting what Eevee becomes the evolution. So that's pretty much just a nice front shot of the two. So definitely some significant differences between Eevee and Jolteon. Looking at the sides, definitely a much different and pronounced body silhouette on Jolteon compared to Eevee. So yes, definitely different. But very cool. It will definitely be nice to have the two together. So that's Eevee and Jolteon. And just lastly, we'll have Jolteon with Vaporeon. So Vaporeon was the interesting one of the four, in that Vaporeon was very much in a sitting position compared to the others who have all been standing. But here we have the two basically side by side. It's hard to do any real comparisons between the two because they do have completely different poses in this regard. But yes, as I mentioned, Keep an eye out on various pictures, whether it be Instagram or possibly even the community tab, and also look out for the shorts. Well, probably a short, but it'll have different snippets throughout. And yes, there'll definitely be a few family pictures of probably the two Eevees, Vaporeon and Jolteon together. I will not include the Pokemon Select Eevee for the time being. I might do that at the very end, at least up until the point of getting Leafeon and Sylveon out of the way. So that is Vaporeon, Jolteon. Can I actually get the three together? Somewhat. It's one of these days that I actually wish I had a better mechanism of doing some of these videos. But that's the three together. Eevee, Vaporeon, Jolteon. I guess we can probably just keep the three of them together. Just keep the happy little evolution family there. So in terms of final thoughts of Jolteon, like I've said with the others, if you're a Puritan Pokemon fan, you're a Eevee fan, including the evolutions, passing on Jolteon would be very out of character. So definitely by all means, Jolteon seems to be a really nice representation at the Pop Vinyl style, and will be a welcome addition to anyone's Pokemon collection or Eevee collection, evolution collection, things like that. So yeah, I would definitely say grab it. If you're not a huge fan of Pokemon, then it really just comes down to, do you like it, yes or no? Like with most things, if you have a bit of an affinity for it, grab it. If not, definitely feel free to give it a miss. So that brings us to an end of the unboxing and somewhat review of Jolteon, with a bit of a comparison back to the previous two evolutions. As I mentioned before, Flareon should hopefully be coming up in the next week or two, so definitely keep an eye out for that. Thank you very much for watching this review and unboxing video. Feel free to leave a like, a comment, sub if you enjoyed the content. All of this does help support the channel, and I do greatly appreciate it. Extra content can also be found on my Instagram account, link below. Stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in a future video. See ya.